Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Monday to you. Wonderful weekend. Let's see here. Take a quick look at Solana. We're going to double check some important stuff. We're going to talk about liquidation levels, but also more important, overextension and what that means for the price action here. We're going to draw out some newer trend lines, kind of see what that's looking like. And quick disclaimer to anybody who's newer to the channel, or maybe you've been watching for a while, you're just not sure why I draw these lines in the chart. They really just run concurrent in a lot of ways with moving averages, and then they kind of help you understand the establishment of higher highs and higher lows, or the inverse for lower lows, lower highs, and just how important those are with trend reversal. So if we can identify here that we're still in a positive trend, then maybe we'll want to consider taking a long, right? Inverse applies as well. You got to recognize Bitcoin is pulling back a little bit, and it is fulfilling somewhat its ABC pattern, at least looking for its A. So in my personal opinion, I think Solana is due for a correction, but again, it really just depends on how long and how much, and a lot of factors there. So let's go ahead and look at some back-end data to see where we're at. Quick congrats to our community members as well for some awesome profits here in our Plus group. We took some serious profits from Matic, Solana, Litecoin, Matic again, AVAX, etc. So a nice little swing there, and of course we took a short from Bitcoin, secured a little bit of profit so far, a little bit left to ride. So again, cool stuff there, but when we look at the liquidation levels, let's go ahead and do this first. We can recognize there's not a ton to the upside. Okay, now there's some late shorts here, of course, at 185. That makes sense. It's the most recent high, but there is a lot more liquidation at about 165 to 170 as a rough estimate. So I would like to urge caution when taking along blindly when we are overextended on the daily. We'll talk about that here in a second, but what I'm getting at here is that there is liquidation to the downside, less to the upside, implying that there's a solid amount of potential for the price action to pull back, because you got to recognize what goes up must come down at some point, right? It may be a lot longer, a lot later, but liquidation levels are common for retracement. So anyways, let's just quickly note 165 to 170, that is this range here, just to give you perspective. Roughly right around here is where the liquidation's at, okay? So again, we'll discuss that here in a minute, but let's go ahead and look at the daily time frame and work our way down. We did look at the macro yesterday for Solana and identify the overall trend is very good. Okay, we are establishing higher highs, higher lows. We've been overextended, of course, but still continue further. The thing you got to recognize, though, with this coin is that it has a tendency of overextending itself and reversing. It's really common characteristic for this coin. So I'll show you some smaller time frame stuff so you can kind of see the consistency and how well this coin will move in a specific direction for a certain amount of time and then turn around. But just to clarify, we're at a 9 on TD sequential plus 1. So hypothetically, we should be able to see the price action go sideways or down soon. Okay, again, it's not a guarantee, but we just didn't have enough consolidation here at this 155 mark to warrant this leg up here, and it just simply took off because Bitcoin did too. So Bitcoin corrects itself. What do you think Solana is going to do? It may also correct itself. Granted, it has a pretty strong inverse pairing, sort of, so to speak, where it's 2x the Bitcoin to the upside, but minus that caveat, it could very well likely align itself to the downside as a 2x as well. So just please understand the correlation between those two coins. We rejected off of 70 in the RSI here. That puts us at a somewhat of a resistance level, which again is at 185 mark, which we have seen recently be somewhat of a resistance. Granted, that was 186, 187, but we're entering that resistance range. Again, it's really common for coins to reject after they come back up to their more recent high. A lot of times they will flag out and then cup and handle their way up. Okay, so we could be on the early phase of that. Again, it's very, very early. Some people say that I call out cup and handle patterns too soon, but it's just something to be mindful of. It doesn't really mean it's like an exact science, right? In fact, we're going to go ahead and draw out our new fib levels here soon. I'll post that playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. And if you are part of our community, again, make sure you reference our trade alert section where I provide you with specific detailed analysis. Just kind of give you a perspective on coins that I'm looking at taking trades with for our premium group. So when it comes to Solana, the important thing to recognize here is that we are looking very good, very bullish in most cases. We are, however, stochastically swinging down for the second time here. That does carry more weight than the first, implying that the first wasn't enough and the second time likely is. And in that case here, we can kind of see that. So the thing you got to recognize is that we're not bearish by any stretch on Solana, right? There's no way. Just because a coin's going to pull back or it tops out on the in the more recent relevant past doesn't imply it's just a bad coin. Okay, it's kind of funny how some people get super offended by that. But again, if you're getting upset by that, you're just not meant for trading. That's all there is to it, and that's okay. It's not for everyone, of course. It takes kind of thick skin to be able to do well and persevere in this industry. And over the last 20 years, I can tell you I've developed that. But a lot of it comes from patience and just understanding that it's okay to miss opportunities. There's millions of opportunities. Anyways, what I'm getting at here is that on the 4-hour time frame, Solana is looking great. A daily time frame, Solana is looking great. There's no other way around it. Okay. But that greatness can effectively have some recourse. So let's take a look at TD sequential on the 4-hour. We have a daily 9. We have a 9 on TD sequential for the 4-hour as well. And if you look at its history, when it hits a 9, generally speaking, here's an 8, it goes sideways and up. There's another 8, the price comes back. We can look at a 9 right here, price goes up, 9, price goes down. Okay, so again, 4-hour time frame is not indicative of just instant reversal every time we hit an overextension. Okay, so I want to kind of point that out so you understand that overextensions generally mean very little in crypto trading, but you combine that with other factors, it does have a tendency of working out quite favorably. So again, keep that in the back of your mind. For right now, let's go ahead and quickly look at some important stuff. We're under 70 on the RSI. Price action is pulling back down, stochastic swinging down, money flow index dropping, and MACD is soon to diverge. So I really personally feel that we're going to see Solana pull back here soon. And I don't generally like to short Solana, but this is feeling like it might be an opportunity to do that. Again, just throwing it out there, I'll pull up some fib levels too, and essentially give us some perspective on where we're at. But generally speaking, if we do see a pullback for this coin, it's likely to the 0.382 or 0.5 fib levels. We can see here, 160 is that area of potential retracement. It's a more recent high here. We've also got the most recent high previous to that around 155. So again, if you're going to consider shorting, make sure that you absolutely secure profits before 155 because we've already identified that's an important level for Solana. We've also identified here too that 165 to 170 is a liquidation range. So hypothetically, you take a short to 160. That's a good 10% profit roughly. Puts you right at the 0.382 fib level, and Bob's your uncle, we get a bounce. Okay, it doesn't always work out that way, but that's generally how it should work. That's how retracement's supposed to occur. So me personally seeing that and Bitcoin on the semi-struggle bus leads me to believe Solana could pull back. But you also got to recognize Solana's managed very well with these pullbacks on Bitcoin and doesn't tend to want to retrace very hard, if at all. Okay, so that's a very solid sign. The last thing I want to kind of identify here on the hourly, well, two things. The first thing is the overextension, like I mentioned. So when we take a look at this here, this is the system that seems to work pretty well for Solana. We can see a 9 on TD sequential here, price pulls back. 9 on TDS, price pulls up. 9 goes sideways. And then, of course, if I saw correctly, there's a 9 sideways and down. And 9 overextended to the upside, 9 sideways. The key takeaway here is that when you hit a 9 on TD sequential for this coin, it has a tendency of running either the opposite direction or going consolidating for the most part. It won't just continue to be massively overextended. So the good thing about this, it kind of lets us know that we have, there's a duration of how much this coin moves in specific directions. So that leads me to believe here that with us being at a 9 here, just a little bit of a bounce consolidating, that we're more likely to either see a leg up here to honor this ascending trend line, which we should probably respect, or it could in fact break through the Ichimoku cloud and break to the downside. So my speculation here is if the price comes down to this level, the 174 to 175 range, and we close somewhere at the 175 or lower today, then I would say a short to the 160 to 165 range is appropriate. The reason why I say that is because, again, 165 is a pretty heavy concentration of local liquidation. So again, just little areas there that are interesting, that are generally gravitated towards. So again, we're honoring the ascending trend. We don't need to try to fight against that. You don't need to short into an ascending trend. You look at the 4-hour time frame, we're honoring the 20-day SMA. But once we break below the 20-day SMA, that would put us below the cloud on the hourly, and that would generally be a favorable sign. So again, I'll summarize this in our scenario here with trade alerts. In other words, make sure you reference this here. And if you're not familiar too and you're part of our community, make sure you go to our coin call section. You can actually vote on whichever, well, not vote, but basically assign this role to your profile, so that way you can be notified of those coins. So anyways, cool stuff there, absolutely awesome, but I'll post this all here soon just to give you perspective on where we're at. I'll redraw this out when I have more time. But the bottom line is that I think that we are getting close to a scenario where the price action should pull back, but once more, a little too early to tell. Okay, again, that's generally how that works. We don't have any confirmation that the price is going to drop, but it's getting there. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. If you do end up shorting, make sure you use low leverage, low position size, be safe with your trades, and do not overdo it. Okay, it's important to recognize that overtrading can be a big problem, and that's generally construed as a gambler's mentality than it is a trader's mentality. All right. Thanks again for watching, folks. Make sure you follow us over here on Twitter, Telegram, Discord. More importantly, reference BitUnix. Use my link to register. If you use my link to register, you get phenomenal rewards with this exchange. There's no KYC or VPN required, and they are amazing. Okay, so be sure to check them out. Highly recommend it. Thanks again so much for your time, folks. We'll see you next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.